Right. But Dustin is a former SWAT team leader, just retired from law enforcement, was at Ohio State for part of it, and he teaches a lot. I've run into him, became a friend in a lot of conferences that I teach, but uh, part of the stuff that I want to pick his brain on is leadership, but also he was on site where, if you guys remember, the active assailant on Ohio State University. The guy came with a car and then with a knife. Got shot by law enforcement officers. So how does training really affect response and so forth? So he's going to be our guest in December. Last week's call was really cool. I know it was small. Most of you, I don't think, were on the call. We're talking about what the term is amplius. It's really what Michelangelo told Raphael when he saw his drawings, and he just wrote amplius across the board, meaning bigger. Just think bigger. Like it wasn't correcting skill, it wasn't correcting vision. Um, amplius. You forgot I. Amplius.
Oh,
Yeah. Um, anyways, we there we go. So we talked about how to challenge yourself. Just find something that you cutting yourself some slack. You are just taking the easy road instead of the more challenging road. Where can you think bigger in terms of personal life, professional life, and so forth? Since you guys were not on the call, I would assume none of you did it. Um, if you haven't been on the call, go ahead and listen to it. We didn't have probably as big of a group as we have today, but I think it's was one of my better talks.
it was
So
more of the staff,
yeah,
like it
so
was.
certainly I'll refer to if you have a chance. All right, today's call. It's going to community because it's the last week or the fourth pillar. But I really wanted to reference the book Who Not How, and this is the thing, and you guys all heard me talk of it before, but I think relationships are everything. I keep challenging you to reach to a couple people every day, extend your networks, get rid of dead weight. Uh, I'm a true believer that growth in any area of your life, be business, personal, family, community, if I'm part of a tactical team, right? It's always dependent on who I surround myself with, not. I was never about you accomplishing anything by yourself because you can't. The reality is you can't raise a family by yourself. Well, you could, right? But obviously having a partner would make your life easier, right? As a tactical team operator, I have a mission. Obviously, it's going to be easier if I have a team with me. As a business owner, it's always better to have a team with you. If you're a team leader at your corporation, your team is going to make your life easier, right? So it's always about the people you surround yourself with, right? So today we're going to talk about it. Relationships expand your capacity or your capability. Actually, both, right? So this is something that Dan Sullivan says, and for you, those of you that don't know Dan Sullivan runs probably the biggest coaching organization out there today. It's called Strategic Coaching. He works with tens of thousands of entrepreneurs around the world. Really, they have international reach, and a lot of his principles became the standard for a lot of other coaching programs out there. Ours not excluded. And one of his biggest premises in this specific book, and he has a series of books with Benjamin Hardy. Benjamin Hardy is an organizational psychologist. So they teamed up to write these books. And in Who Not How, he talks about, or he says, stop asking yourself, how do I get this done? And start asking, who can help me accomplish this 10 times faster and better, right? So in putting it in the context of community again, which is art, the way we reframed it, is what is the right relationship that we need to create in order to experience true growth, right? If I have who or the right people that will expand my access to think about talent, ideas, resources. I always talk about the indirect resources. If you guys remember, the idea of like I may need something I don't have it, but maybe Tyler does. So me knowing Tyler gives me access to that resource, right? So it's indirect resource, right? Their wisdom, opportunities, held accountable, right? So a lot of times the team is not necessarily about what they bring, but holding me accountable and support. It could be emotional support, spiritual support, whatever it is, right? So you literally grow by enlarging the circles around you. Now there is a science to it. We want to make sure it's the right people that surround us, right? Because the wrong people are going to drain us just as fast as the good people are going to help us grow, right? So I want you to start thinking. I'm going to share a few key concepts. The first one is interdependence over independence, right? So if we think about independence, and by the way, I do believe that the whole idea of the lone wolf, right, being the Rambo type of image, right? That's a myth. Nobody goes that way. You've never seen a special operations team like SEAL Team Six, right? It's called SEAL Team Six, right? Uh, uh, Combat Application Group, the current name for Delta, right? It's a combat application group. It's not an individual, right? So there's no such thing as a sole person, I'm going to accomplish those big things, right? Warriors thrive in teams, families thrive in collaboration, right? Business that thrives when leaders, okay, build networks, not empires of one. Think about any big company they think, or even small company, right? But if I think about Amazon, if I think about Apple, right? Yeah, there was one person with a vision, but Bezos didn't create Amazon on himself by himself, right? Um, no Bill Gates did not create Microsoft by on his own, right? What's the name of the guy? Number two, Allen, right? So I'm not pointing at Allen. Allen is the second guy in Microsoft that built Microsoft with Bill Gates, right? So it was always teams, right? So interdependence over independence. That's the first principle. The second one is who accelerates, how slows you down. So if I think in terms of how do I do this, right? I become the bottleneck. I am limited in how fast I can do it and the resources I have and how creative I'm going to be because it's just me, right? But if I start thinking who can help me, I'm gaining their leverage, right? Again, their expertise, their experience past past my own, right? I move faster and everybody gets elevated because of it, right? And the third one is sorry, there's a couple more. Third one is your relationship determines your future. So every major success in your life, okay? If you think about everything that you accomplished, hey, Gal, sorry. That's a problem doing it in a camper with everybody around the same small space. But when you think about everything you accomplish, right? Business, family, fitness gains, whatever it is, someone was there to open the door for you or to mentor you, to coach you, to train you, right? To challenge you. Somebody taught you something, someone you collaborated with, right? Somebody believed in you. So the thing about like married couples, for example, even when we have the one person is the working individual and the other one is the stay-at-home spouse, right? That's stay-at-home spouse. It's not like not contributing anything, right? They're the ones that make the working individual be capable of going to work, right? So they make sure that everything around the house is taken care of. They maybe make a meal for them, right? But more importantly, they give them the support. They believe in you, right? So it's always about the people around you. Your network should be a mirror of your direction. So, meaning if you look at the people around you and it's all deadbeat individuals, or they're not supportive, they're not helping you, they're not contributing anything, then your direction, right, is not going to be a good trajectory, right? So, and it's going to be part of our homework later, our mini challenges, kind of audit the people around you. But who are you surrounding yourself with is a big determination, right? And I would say probably one of the most importantly is community removes blind spots. So we don't know what we don't know, right? And when I started Masada, I was a one-person operation. I cleaned the mats by myself. I was running memberships. I was teaching all the classes. It was all by myself, right? I didn't have anybody though that could um, call me out when I didn't do things right, to pull me up when I was down, right? To ground me, to inspire me, most importantly, to hold me accountable. If I wanted to cut a corner, let's say one day I'm too tired, I'm not going to mop the mats today. There was nobody to call me out on it or be accountable to my own standards, right? So, having a community removes all of that, right? It puts those people there to point out everything that you're missing, right? And I would say the heart of the Masada culture, those of you, whether you're a member or work with Masada, has always been around it. Okay, the community removing blind spots. I'm going to give you a few examples today, but before I go into applications of real life, I want to point a big one that's pretty recent. So, as you guys know, I gave management of the gym to Tyler and Allison, and this past week we've been working on a customer management system, getting new automations in place, Actually, this Jadari, the platform that we've been using for the Masada coaching, there's a lot of features in we're not using, and some of them are actually becoming more of a bottleneck than an asset, right? So finding a new system out there. And Tyler and Allison did all the work. So if I was to do it all by myself, first of all, it probably wouldn't have gotten done, or it would have been pushed to the back burner because I have so many other things to do. I probably would be limited in what I'm looking for because I don't know all the needs because I'm not dealing with it day in and day out. So I would have missed certain key features possibly. So having the two of them do it really opened the opportunity for them to research outside the box that I would have put myself in. So they went ahead, they researched a few different companies, they got on calls with them. From time to time, they would ask for my guidance, which I think is my role as a leader, is to provide that guidance, but no more. And I told them, I'm like, listen, whatever you guys choose is the right answer. I'm not here. If I had to make the decision for you, then I don't need you guys, right? The idea is that you guys are empowered to do so. And I think you guys are all going to love the solutions that they're coming with and some of the new things are going to be coming out in the next few weeks. Um, we're going to stop using this coaching platform, just so you guys know. We're still going to use Zoom for calls, same exact link, nothing of that. Our YouTube channel, where everything is going to be uploaded, it's not going to be changed. We're going to move the chat format to another platform, yet to be determined, or at least I don't know which one was determined. But you're going to see a lot more things coming from a different area, which is going to take a lot of the stress off of you. There's also going to be an app uh, that you guys are going to be able to use. So it's going to be really cool. But this is all because I went with who, not how. Okay, if I was to try to do it myself, it wouldn't have worked. Certainly not as neatly and as well as it did. All right. So let's talk about application for real life. I'm actually going to start with personal life. I know you're not all entrepreneurs, but all of you have a personal life. You all have a family, whether you're married or not married. I know everybody on this call right now is, but not everybody is, right? But the idea is that it doesn't matter, right? We still have a community. So even if I'm not married, I have parents, I have siblings, right? Maybe I have kids out of marriage. It doesn't matter. The reality is there's always a community, right? So your personal relationship grows based on the healthy people that you surround yourself with. So if you are a married person, other healthy couples, right? If I am always hanging out with couples that, let's say, infidelity is the norm, right? That is not a good standard for me to follow, right? And if I want to invest in my marriage, right? So do I surround myself with other good people that mirror the standards or the character that I want to embody, right? Your kids grow based on what they see other people do, right? So what are you mirroring, right? I always, Tyler and I always say, it's not just me, right? But the biggest flex in our life would be uh, our kids growing up and thinking that showing affection to the other person is a win, right? We're very affectionate to each other, and right now it's like, ooh, don't do that, right? But you know what? 15, 20 years from now, when they're in relationships, they're going to seek that same kind of support from their significant other. My daughter, Tyler said the other day, she's getting spoiled. My daughter gets flowers from me every Friday. And when she's gonna start dating, she's gonna expect flowers from whoever she's dating, and she'll deserve those flowers from whoever she's dating, right? So they'll mirror, and their relationships are gonna grow for that, right? Your emotional health improves when you have friends that challenge and support you, right? So I'm gonna use another example. I'm gonna use Danny as an example. Um, and I'm going to reverse it because Danny's going through some career growth opportunities right now, right? But when we sit together and we go over some of the things that he's dealing with, I don't want to say play devil's advocate, but my goal is to encourage him, to support him, to be in his corner, but also to challenge him to make sure that he's not missing anything that potentially in the long run would be detrimental. So I think that's my role to provide to him. And he has done that for me as well. He asks me some questions sometimes like, I don't know. I'm gonna have to think about it, right? So that's always key, right? So personal life and family. Uh, so questions that you want to ask: Who strengthens you emotionally? Who challenges you? Who drains you, right? And remove those people from your life. You know what? You heard me say that a million times. If a person is bad energy, there's no room for them in your life. Who do I need to bring into my life to grow as a father, a husband, or a leader, right? So, is there an element of my life that I feel I'm missing that support? Who can I bring into my life to enhance that? The next one is obviously the professional life of business, right? So growth comes through partnerships, not solo efforts. Okay, who do you have in your team that helps you? So Dan just started a new company with his wife. So his wife, obviously, there's the personal thing, but it's also the professional support there. They do stuff together. They divide responsibilities based on their individual strengths, but they work as a team, right? They're supporting each other, right? Talented people will multiply your reach. I could not do design the way Allison does. Getting Allison on board to help make those all those reels that you see, well, the reels maybe Tyler as well, right? But the flyers for sure. What's that face for?
Do you really want to know? I can share with everyone.
What that? I don't know.
I
Now I'm intrigued.
I just had an update on like a notification on my phone from my cycle tracker.
Oh
My next
no, I don't need to know. All right. I don't think anybody needs to know that. All right.
it's coming by my birthday.
Happy birthday. Anyways, now I lost my train of thought. Thank you for your funny face there in the middle. All right. So again, talented individuals, right? Surround yourself with people that know more than you on stuff that needs to be known. Um, Dan, I know you're muted and camera off because you're busy, but let me ask you this, and if you can type in at least. You and Sonia obviously are partnering on this candle making, and I assume you guys have different strengths, right? So if you try to do it all by yourself, it's probably not going to be as great. And I'm taking a guess here that you're working more on the IT side and the business side, and Sonia is more on the creative side and the actual making of the candles. Am I correct on that assumption? I'll give you a second to answer if you're even paying attention. So that's the thing when the camera is off. I never know if you're actually listening to me or not. We'll get back to you, Dan. All right.
Might be like playing aloud and there are kind of a few
Possibly. But the reality is, again, the point I'm trying to make is you got to surround yourself with other people that are talented that will help you do the stuff that you don't do as well, right? The right relationships can solve problems for you, okay, instantaneously. So there are issues that I've been struggling with for years, okay, on the business side, and all of a sudden you get a person that augments that element, and that problem goes away. An example would be when Michael was working with us, right? One of the reasons I wanted to bring Michael is because he wasn't, for lack of a better term, a yes man. He wouldn't do just what I said. He challenged everything that I stated, right? But then he was able to fix some problems for me that I had for years. If it was on the IT side, right, or just basic budgeting stuff that I had issues with, he solved that for me instantaneously, right? So that's the strength of community in business. So from a practical standpoint, you want to build a bench of operators, okay, if we think in tactical terms of operators, of thinkers, connectors, and executors, right? People that can help you enhance your capability. Stop trying to master everything because you won't. If you try to master everything, you're just going to slow yourself down and it's not going to be done as well, right? So leverage your community as an asset. And I will say, this is a community, okay? The Masada coaching is a community. We have a lot of people on this group, even if they're not active on these calls on a regular basis, that have tremendous abilities and knowledge on different things, from attorneys to accountants to tacticians to marketing people to designers. So if you are not pulling on those people, it's a waste, right? So it starts here. Right. And the last thing I think in today's day and age, and there's a lot of research being put about it, is we're losing the sense of community, of a tribe, that brotherhood, right? So I always said for me, that was a big to this day. I mean, when Tyler asked me when I deployed my last time, she goes, "What are you most looking forward to?" And I said, "Just being with the boys." Right? It's something that if you come from the tactical world, you miss that, right? And first responders, the same thing, and so forth. I'm sure Jerry can relate in the sense he was in the fire service for years. You know, your team, your shift, your truck, team. That is a different type of camaraderie, and then you leave that world and you miss it. It's lacking. One of the biggest reasons why I started Masada and why I love it so much, it's as close as I can get without being in combat. Is I built my own team, my own tribe, right? But there's a lot of research that shows that today's day and age, because of social media and the way we interact virtually so much, that people are actually missing, and they're craving more of that relationship, more of those communities, right?
Mhm.
So we have to understand that relationships are not just for support, right? They are the momentum, they are the fuel that gets you going, right? That's what drives you. So if you surround yourself with people that share your values, right, then your journey becomes automatically faster and more meaningful, right? And again, one of the main reasons that why we built Masada Coaching, it started by a few people asking for my advice, but the reality is from day one is what was about building a community, was building people that we can share thoughts with, right? And it doesn't have to be on a call. So if you guys ever have a bad day or question, and some of you are taking advantage, I know Danny and I have the opportunity to have meals pretty often together, so we have the opportunity to connect, right? But then Dan and I make enough an effort to meet up for lunch every so often, so we can both vent. Okay, just because I run these coaching calls doesn't mean that I don't want to vent as well, right? And being able to share stuff with other, okay, obviously Tyler and other people. So if you haven't, and you ever just need a person to kind of bounce ideas by, uh, do it with us. Doesn't have to be me, anybody else in this tribe, right? This is what we built it for. All right. So let's talk about practical framework. How do we build our network of who's, right? So the first thing you got to do, and part of it is going to be your homework, so you may want to pay attention, right? Is you want to identify, okay, so think clarity, identify what outcome you want. So in whatever it is that you want to accelerate right now, if it's a personal life, it's a professional life, can be a health and fitness issue, whatever it is, you want to identify very clearly what your outcome is. Okay, what are you envisioning that outcome to be? Then you want to audit. Okay, who already has the skills, okay, the network or experience that you need to get there? So within the people you already know, is there somebody that can get me there faster, right? Then you want to connect with them, reach out, right? Initiate, don't wait, because the longer you wait, the longer it's going to take for you to fix anything. Any relationship is a give and take, and always start by giving, right? So contribute, provide value first. Relationships are always two ways. People, at least in this community, will be more than happy to share with you whatever they can, but don't take advantage of it, right? I always say, so for example, I've used um, Steve Kushner, who officially is part of our network, is not very active. He's an attorney, does business law in Georgia, and whenever I have a question, I reach out to him, but I always start with, how are you doing? What kind of support can I offer you? I ran training for him and his synagogue, the security team, whatever, just to offer value first. But then when I ask him for advice or something, I can't tell you how many professional documents and agreements he reviewed for me for free. This is an attorney that charges thousands of dollars an hour, right? Okay. And don't expect to get it for free. Don't expect a discount. I was more than willing to pay full price, right? Do not take advantage of it. But you'll find out that when you come with that approach, people will give you a lot, right? Um, Commit. Okay, so keep showing up. Consistency builds trust. So if you're gonna reach for someone for advice, okay, follow up with them. Okay, I did what you asked me to do. This is what I've seen, right? Don't just ask for advice and then put it to the side and don't do anything about it. That just tells the other person that you didn't care about what they told you, right? If you ask for advice, apply their advice. And if you didn't apply the advice, because life does happen, be honest with them and let them know. Hey, BK, I know you suggested I do A, B, C. I wasn't able to do it. What do you suggest I do now? Should I still go with it? Should I do something else? Be honest and keep showing up, right? Curate. Remove toxic or draining connections. I told you that in the past. Go for your contact list. If there's people that are just bad energy, remove them. It serves you no good purpose. Okay? Just remove them. And celebrate. Okay? Recognize wins and appreciate your people. I if a couple of you are on our team WhatsApp group. I try to periodically put something out there so our team knows that I appreciate what they're doing, recognize them, take each one of them independently to breakfast just to catch up on their lives, see where they are, what I can do for them, and so forth. It goes a long, long way in building that team approach. All right. So this is kind of like your homework, okay? I want you to think where in your life you're trying to be the how instead of finding the who. What is it that you're kind of trying to force to do on your own, okay? Whether it's external pressure or internal pressure, right? Where it would have been easier for you to find somebody to help you. Okay, then you're gonna look who in your current circles, okay, is elevating you and who is anchoring you. Anchoring you being bringing you down, right? What relationship should you invest deeper in this month? All right. And who do you need to ask for help? So I want you to be honest because this is the hardest thing for people that are alpha personality, which is pretty much everybody on this group. We're not very good about asking for help, right? So we need to know. I got better at it with years, but it's humbling, right? So we need to learn how to do it. So identify one goal, identify one person that can help you get there faster. You get 48 hours to reach to them, okay, and invest in that relationship. So next week, when I ask you if you've done it, okay, you're gonna say, yeah, this is one thing that I was struggling with, and I was trying to do the how instead of finding the who. I identified this person as someone that could help me. I reached out to them, and this is the results I got. And I'll tell you that if you actually do it, if you today identify it, can reach out to a person within 48 hours, so let's say by Sunday or Monday, by next Friday, you would see the results of that approach. Okay, it is that almost instantaneous. The correct who's are game changers, right? So relationship in my mind are your access to a bigger life, right? So every time you're trying to build something, and it can be yourself, like if I wanted to get better at my fitness routine, I'm going to go to a personal trainer or a coach that knows better than me. If I want to get a better business, I'm going to reach out to people. I belong to coaching organizations myself because I want to be elevated and learn from them, right? If I want to be better at my relationship with Tyler, then I'll do the research needed to be, and sometimes it's just me and Tyler. Sometimes it's Tyler and I going to other people and seeking that advice that we need, right? But
Good to know.
it's always about bringing external people out, right? Your tribe, again, like I mentioned at the beginning of the call, will determine your trajectory. If you want to move forward faster, you have to have the right people that mirror that end result for you. All right, that is all I have for you. Any questions or comments about any of that? Go, Tal. There's such a delay between I saw you raising your hand here, and by the time it showed up on the screen.
That's why I always said like when you would ask for people see, and I'm like, give it a
I
second
need to
because there's
wait.
a lag.
Yeah, I didn't realize it's that big to delay.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
Should I unmute or can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
You can hear me? Okay. Um, it just I was trying to think recently an example of like the who not how, and I think although I didn't know this person, once I found that person, they became like my who when I was trying to look for the rehome for Jack for our other dog, and her name was Sharon, and she just became an integral part of the process and facilitated the whole thing and
Yep.
like really made that happen and took a lot of pressure off. And arguably, if she didn't help, I don't know that it would have worked out
Right.
the way that it did. So that was
Because you
really
found someone who had the connections, the know-how, the experience, and
right.
really show. If you were to try to do it yourself, to your point, probably would have gotten done eventually, but
Right.
not as quickly, probably not as efficiently,
And
right?
probably not with someone that it was as trustworthy
Yeah.
as yourself.
So no, that was awesome. Great example of a who, not how, right? And to your benefit, I would say that you did look for who's, right? So you didn't know it was
Right.
Sharon or whatever, but you did put it out there and try to find people to support your
Right.
process, right?
Yeah.
Um, so that's awesome. That's a good example. All right. Anybody else has an example? Something that you know somebody has helped you and really expedited growth in your life? I already shared the example of Tyler and Allison when it comes to the gym. I'll say also for our healthcare division, if you guys know, I hardly teach classes myself anymore. What I was able to do is build a team from a director to other instructors that really made my life easier. So I can keep that high view and make sure everything is done to my standards and it's in line with my vision. But if I would be very limited in how many hospitals I can train myself, right? One person can be at one place at one time, right? Having a team of people allows me to certainly accomplish a lot more,
Mhm.
right? So that's another example from the professional side. All right, guys. Well, if you don't have any other questions, I'm gonna keep these meetings on Fridays, just so you guys know. There was a debate going back and forth whether Wednesdays or Fridays. It's just with my schedule, it works better. I don't want to have to cancel or not as often or change days or times. Um, I typically don't work on Fridays, so it's easier for me. And hopefully people will get used to the change of schedule and we'll have some more people in the future. I know this is a holiday weekend and new for most. Yes, Tyler.
I was just gonna say, I know BK mentioned, and Alan, really, you're the only member, like self-defense member, so you get it like an exclusive ear. But he mentioned some changes coming, so it'll be rolling out kind of into the new year. But um, we'll announce all the changes soon. But that this, like our calls and our communication, will be in a much simpler place and just one spot. That's super easy. But the app experience too will just be like classes, seminars, events, shop, like everything. You'll just like download an app and you'll have all of our stuff there. So like things are gonna get a lot simpler and prettier, and hopefully as far as like communication and changes and things that we do, it'll just be coming right to you. There won't be the workaround of trying to look for things or stuff like that. So just we're excited about it. I was trying to just ease out a little bit, but
Cool. Awesome.
I'm
All right,
leaning into
guys.
my laptop, but I realized I'm muted. I should have been leaning towards you. Sorry.
You guys have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Maybe Dan will answer our question whenever he's done. Danny, do you have a question or did you just saying bye? Just saying bye. Okay. All right. Well, Dan McCutcheon maybe will answer our questions when he re-listens to the recording later. All right, guys. Everybody
Sorry,
have a wonderful.
what was the question? I had a call come in that I had to
That's
take from
okay.
my
I
mom.
just like making fun of you. No,
Of
we're
course.
talking about who's not how and the division of responsibilities for you guys with the candle making. And I said, if I had to make an assumption, right? If you were trying to do it all by yourself, you probably wouldn't get very far. But having you and Sonia do it together, you can probably concentrate on the business side and she more on the creative side. Am I correct in that assumption?
Yeah, so she's everything of making the candles and the scents and um the different candles that we're doing and the prayers that are involved. And I've been doing the website and the like designing of the labels and things like that. So yeah, we definitely have to split it up. It's been good.
Cool. Yeah. To the point that we're trying to make that if somebody tried to do everything by themselves, it probably wouldn't be as effective, right?
No,
Or as efficient.
no.
Perfect.
Like
Dan, since I have you on,
today she's pouring candles and I'm doing all the labeling of the jars and finalizing them.
awesome. Keep it straight, okay?
Yep. Yeah,
Uh,
I'm trying my best.
all right, Dan,
Got this new little doohickey thing right here
a
to do the
doohickey.
labels. Yeah. That's the technical term.
Perfect, love it.
Doohickey.
So since I have you on, do you want to share with everybody where they can go if you want to buy a candle, Black Friday sale?
Yeah, Black Friday, 30% off. The website is firmfoundation311.com.
You want to type
And
it into
so
the messages, into the
yeah,
message board real quick?
yeah,
So if anybody
that's a
thinks of
good
like
idea.
stocking stuffers, present to a loved one, whatever else, um,
Yes.
And if you're local to Maryland, just choose pickup and we'll deliver it to save on a shipping fee.
let me make your life easier. If we can get them into to Masada just to make it a one and people can pick it up from there. So you don't have to go too far.
That does make life a lot easier.
I got you, brother. See, who
So
not
appreciate it.
how.
Yep. There you go. Yeah, I'm actually like the parts of the call that I was listening to were really good. I'm gonna go back and catch up. I had an insurance guy end up in my 87-year-old mother's apartment today, unsolicited. So it was the
Hmm.
police officer that
Oh, that's
was
nice.
calling. Yeah, yeah, it was nice. It's
Oh,
nothing crazy, and it was probably legit. But my mom shouldn't have set an appointment with him for sure.
got you. All right, guys. So everybody have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I will see you next week.
Yep.
Bye, guys.
Later, guys.